Hello, sneaky snake retail traders. I got excited here, so I wanted to get live on YouTube and point out a few things and see if anybody wanted to talk about a specific stock. Looks like we're pulling back, and I've noticed a couple good spots where I've been calling out. I did a video earlier this weekend about the 200 SMA. If you want to go back and watch it, I'm going to put this on mute right now so we'll get that ringing out of our ears. But we're at some pretty good little levels right now, and I'm kind of getting very excited. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. I wanted one more big pullback before I think we started consolidating and find this nice little spot. So we're going to start off with the IWM. I just want to point these out to you. Now you see we pulled back to 172.32 right here. How's everybody doing? Everybody have a nice weekend? Say hi, don't be shy. I always say if you're in doubt, give Washboardjim a shout. So we're going to be looking at some stocks, and then I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Right now I'm looking at the /ES. I'm about ready to call it out again. I just scalped it for about 300 bucks. Just look at it right now. I'm going to button up my shirt so I won't be so exposed. Now I'm going to pull up the weekly time frame on this thing. Just so I haven't looked at the weekly. But I want to point out something right here. This is very important. So kind of keep your eyes open right here. Back about 3 years ago, I called the bottom of the market back in September and November, right before the beginning of the year. Back in 2022, we had a pretty big dip. The Biden, we sold off about 30-40% in the market during that year of 2022. And that was a huge sell-off, and it went on all year long. Little bitty bounces to the upside, but mostly it just went straight down here. And I'll pull up the 5-year on the weekly time frame. Now, I've been through a few of these here crashes like this before. This one here I kind of like a lot because it's happened real fast, where the other ones they kind of took their sweet time, and a lot of people lost a lot of money back in the year of 2022 during the Biden years. They weren't quite trading the market and they were calling it all wrong. Same thing happened during Obama. Obama had a 50% pullback. Biden had almost a 30% pullback. And then we had this pullback here with Trump. Now there's a really couple good spots that I want to point out here on this pullback, the same as what we had kind of back during the Biden years. Now I called the crash in the Biden years off the 200 SMA. So this is the /ES. Right now I'm dealing with a pair of broken glasses, so you'll see me putting my hands up in my eyes a little bit. We were at a high right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a price line all the way across that. This is a /ES. This is on the weekly time frame. So we had a huge sell-off back during that year. Sometimes they were pretty drastic. Pretty big, huge sell-off from 46, 45 all the way down to 38. About a 700-point drop. So we were up here at the top at 61.66, and we pulled back about 700 points. Or about more than that, actually. We had 2 big days last week that were over 1,500 pullback, and I kind of like the way that happened in one straight week. So I'm thinking we're going to stop here and consolidate this week off the 200. If we go down more, you know, it could probably just drop a little bit more down below the 200. Right to this previous peak right here, and that's going to where we're going to put our other price line, right about it right about in there, right around 4,600. But for right now, we're going to see if we can maintain this 200 EMA this coming week. And if we can hold that, we'll start moving this thing back up and find a resistance to break right here at that previous high right there, right where we opened up at. And that'd be a double bottom that we broke down on. That's a /ES. Now I'm seeing a lot of correlation to a lot of other stocks that are hitting the 200 SMA and EMA, which kind of excites me. Hello, mannequin. Surprise stream it is. I've seen this pullback today, and I think we're getting to a place where we really want to pay attention to the market, especially if you're not all in, or even if you are in and you're stuck in a lot of trades. It could be a position where you might want to start adding on. We'll know by tomorrow. I think we might open up from the previous low we had today, but we'll see. We'll retest. As long as we stay above the 200 SMA or we stay above the 200 EMA. And these are moving averages that I called before. We called it off the EMA before, and we had a nice little bounce, and it pulled back, and then it retested the 200 SMA. And then we had one heck of a run, and that's where I started piling on my stocks. I got in Boeing, I got in Tesla, I got in Apple, I got in a couple of other stocks and I'm more familiar with them now because it's 2 years later, 3 years later, 2.5 years later. So I kind of know which ones I really want to watch on this next run around. And that's including Meta, that's including Microsoft, that's including NVIDIA. NVIDIA I wasn't really too hot about, but you've seen the run that NVIDIA had. And then Bitcoin, all last week, maintained. It didn't go down. So Bitcoin was really one to watch. And that was kind of, gold dropped. So I'm really starting to get excited about where we are now. If this maintains the support that we have tomorrow, and we can hold that, and we can bounce off these 200 EMAs and SMAs. And I've been trading them for a long time, these moving averages. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. So if there's anybody in here that's listening right now and wants me to look at a stock that they're stuck in, or if they're thinking about getting, we'll look at it. But I want to go through a few of them that I just now noticed that really turning me on a lot. And I'm going to go back and forth from the 1 minute to the weekly, and then I might even look at the yearly. So for example, Google. So I'm going to pull up Google right now here on the weekly. You see where the 200 SMA is and EMA is right here. I'm going to put a price line right there on that EMA right now. And then I'm going to take this to the 1 minute. And I want to show you something. Bam. Right to that 200 EMA. And we bounced right off that 200 EMA. So if we can maintain 136.92, I think we can run this up and make a lot of money tomorrow. Jot these down on paper. And we'll see if I'm right or not. But you can see how precise that was. 136.92, I was 8 cents off. So let's look at Meta. We'll go back to the weekly. And that was Google. So right in 137. And that's what you want to hold tomorrow if we dip on down. So here's Meta. Now, I've got the Fibonacci set on this right here. And I've got a 50% pullback on the 3-year run. So I'm going to put a price line right there. And then I'm going to put one right here on this here double bottom. Right there, right there, and we pulled back Friday and hit that 38% pullback, which also means that's a support, and we'll make that resistance. So I'm going to take off the Fibonacci, and we're going to go to the 1 minute. So that 38% is right there, and we pulled back and we hit 467.95. So let's go back to the weekly or the daily now and see what the daily tells us. So right now we're at a solid support, right around 493.75, and I called 500 on this trade. And right now we're at 478. So we're right about in here. And that's in that gap. We're going to make that a red line. And then go back to the daily 1 minute. So we're at a pretty solid support right now. We're at the third support on this knife, and we're now at that pivot point, right at that gap. So that's going to be your hard resistance tomorrow. And then if we can dip back down to a double bottom and hold that, you should be able to run this back up about $11 and try to hit that resistance, or we'll come up here and double top. And that's meta. So that one, I'm going to watch it too. I'm going to watch it good tomorrow also. Then we got Apple. Let's go to the weekly first. Let's hit Apple. Apple pulled back to 179.50. We got 177. I should have put this on first, right here. Off the 200 SMA. Now this is on a weekly time frame, and that's a good little pivot point area. It could go a little bit lower and be a very strong buy, probably right around 165. I mean, that's cheap if it does hit that. But let's go ahead and make this a red line. Then we'll go to the daily 1 minute. Right on that red line. See where we pulled right back to that 200 SMA. So if we can maintain the 200 SMA at 177.73 and run this thing back up to the close, have a double top right here at 181. And if we break that, we'll easily run up here to the 200 on the 1 minute time frame. And that'll be probably where you want to exit the trade at 185. So that's about a $8 bounce. Especially if we double back tomorrow morning and stay at 177.73. Write that down on paper. Remember, that's the 200 SMA on the weekly time frame. So I'm seeing a lot of good spots. I'm seeing really solid supports if we can maintain that hold. Now, we've had a hard sell-off in the last week, and a lot of people are freaked out. I'm not freaked out one bit. I'm actually feeling very good right now compared to what I felt like Friday and Thursday and all week last week. I got stuck in 2 trades, but I still made good money playing the dips. I just had to work harder at it. So we got Google, Apple. Let's look at Tesla. Now Tesla's in heat. Everybody's bashing Tesla right now. And we had a major support right here, 228 off the EMA last week. Now this thing can dip more, and we're going to clean this up. I'm a big bull on Tesla. I'm probably one of my best traded stocks that I've traded over in the past, ever since the IPO came out. Probably one of my most successful trades that I've traded. And I'm going to try to find a pivot point or a support level on this stock right here. And I got to look for a chart pattern. And I'm seeing it right here off this head and shoulders. And I'm going to put a trend line from the body of that candle right there to the body of that one. And that's your solid support. And that's what we hit last week. This is called a head and shoulders. You got your head, you got your left shoulder, your right shoulder, your right shoulder, and then we had the big bounce. And I run that up. I got out of it. There, what's his name? Dan Ives was calling 515. Then he got involved with Trump and Doge, and now he's got all these idiots out there protesting against him. I think he's just probably one of the smartest men in the world right now. So we have another Head and Shoulders right here, and I'm going to put a price line right across there. Well, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to put a trend line across there. I want to magnify this up real big. Go to that body right there and run it up to that body right there. Nobody's going to show you this stuff, but I've been practicing this for a long time, and I can come real close to nailing these supports. And that's right under the 200. So let's make this a red line. I got two trend lines here. Let's see what happens here. There we go. So we got the 200 SMA here at 245, and the stock is now at 218. So it's dropped 21 bucks, and that's off this here shoulder line. I'm going to go ahead and you see that Head and Shoulders where it pulled back right there in the bottom of that left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, how it higher lows. Then it came back and hit that higher low right there. So that's a solid support. We're going to put a price line right there on that shoulder line. Then we're going to go take this to the 1 minute. And we're right on that shoulder line right now. Now, if this doesn't hold, we'll probably go ahead and pull back to under $200, and then that's where I'd start going long in this stock. So this one's going to be kind of we just got to see the trend tomorrow, see which way it wants to go. But the resistance to break is going to be the opening price right at 224, and we're going to put a price line right there at 224. If we can break above that, we'll fill the gap. If not, we'll stop and consolidate in here. And if it doesn't hold this double bottom, we'll drop down right below 200 bucks for a strong buy. I'm going to take a drink. GME, we'll look at it in a second. So we looked at Meta, and we'll look at Microsoft. Did we look at NVIDIA already? Yes. No, we did not. So let's go to the weekly on NVIDIA. Let's clean this all up. We got the 200 right here, EMA, and NVIDIA is one of my bullish stocks right now more than anything. We got a double bottom right here, so we're going to put a price line at 74 right there. And then your next pullback is right here, and that's where we stopped on Friday. So we'll take this to the yearly, and then we'll come back. I don't know, I can't see it going to 67, but let's go ahead and put that on here. 68 bucks for the 200 EMA. Make that a red line. Then we'll take this to the daily. Yeah, we should have held that right there, but she's at 89 something right now. So we got a Head and Shoulders. Let's take this to 2 year. So we got a little head and shoulders right here. And we're going to put a price line right there at $83.19. That's your head and shoulders. You got your left shoulder, right shoulder, and your head. That previous high with that double bottom. So we'll make this in here a green line. Then take it to the 1 minute. Take it to the 5-day 1 minute. Well, no. We'll take it to the 5-day 5 minute. There we are. We could easily drop down to 83.19 on this one here. What was that again? That was that head and shoulders. So I would put my money on 83.90, 84 bucks, and see if that holds at 84 and go long in the trade. NVIDIA is being picked on, but it was their whale. It was their number one trade for 2 years, and it's the leader of AI. And with the tariffs on China, this could lose some sales. And then they're coming out with that other thingamajigger that's coming out that does AI. So I think I'd be real careful with it, but I'd watch it just in case it started running and to be a great scalper. But if we hit 83 something, I think I'd start pulling a position in it and go in small and then start adding to it. It can always dip on you a little bit. Definitely be a strong buy. It's double bottom at 75 bucks, 76 for sure, long, and then I'd hold it. And there's another one I wanted to, well, let's look at Microsoft, and then we'll look at GME. At Microsoft, we're going to go to the weekly. Anybody else in here that's listening got stocks you want me to look at, and I'll chart them up for you. So we got 337 for Microsoft on the 200, and the stock right now is at 345. So we got this previous high right here, right at 345.61. That previous high, we broke below support, and that was a pivot point. That should have held if it wanted to stay bullish, and it didn't do that last Friday. So 345 looks like a real good spot for the second support. And then maybe the third one off the 200 EMA at 337. Now this one here has also had a real good run of over 150%, 120%, 130%, 120, something like that. It's doubled. So if we put a Fibonacci on here, that 50% pullback's right at 345. So you got a double confirmation at 50% pullback, or this bottom right here. You see that where it stopped at that double bottom? That would be a strong buy. If you had the patience and this thing dipped to 315, I'd load the boat on that stock right there this coming week. If it decided to go ahead and pull back, and that ain't that, that's what, $25, $20, $20 dip. And where it is right now, no, it's more than that, 30. That'd be a $30 dip. So if we maintain that 200 or that 50% pullback on that Fibonacci right at 345, I think we'd have a nice little bounce back up to that other Fibby right there, or at least a 366. It hit the bottom of that there angle right there. I'll be watching this one too, Microsoft. I think it's in a good spot. I really do. If we can hold it Monday. There's going to be a little bit of panic. A lot of traders don't know what they're doing right now. And I've traded with a lot of traders that I've been around, and then I've seen a lot of new traders come in during COVID, and they're getting pretty good themselves. I can name off a few names, but people that I've known that were rookies and that now have developed a trading pattern and an understanding on how to trade. They got their own little method. So yeah, I was teaching these guys when they first started, and then they just kind of branched off and went on their own and got a lot better. They didn't even know what a pivot point was or what a VWAP was or anything like that. Now they know, MACDs and all this other stuff. So, and then GME. Let's get GME on here. JP for GME. JP, it used to be my name in high school. James Perry. And then that was my adopted name. So we're on the weekly right now on GME, and the price is at $22. That's pretty good. Now, this is a speculative trade. It's a meme trade. It's a kitty litter stock pump. They're talking about buying Bitcoin. So it's a cult following. A lot of people are watching this stock. So it has a lot of volume. And that's what you want to kind of be in right now. So we're going to just mark this 200 EMA right now. And we've maintained that for what? A year and a half? 2 years almost? A year and a half? 2 years? We've maintained that support level. So we're going to put a price line right on that 200 EMA. $21.81. Now this one could be a good runner this week. And there we are. We pulled right back to that 21.81. And that's at 200 on that weekly. So let's take this to the daily. Now on the daily, we got a double bottom down here that we just happened last week. And we'll take it all the way down to the wick. Right around, we want 2080 to hold, to stay bullish. That'll be a triple bottom off the wick. And we want that body of that candle this coming week when we close. And if we dip down there, I want that body, not the wick, because the wick can probably drop a little bit more, maybe $20. But if we can get that body to stay above that 2080, you can run this thing back up and break resistance. Let's just say last week's high of 23.48 all the way up to that 200 EMA on the daily at 24.33. Now we're below the 200 SMA, which means it's in bearish territory. So the 200 SMA is going to be the resistance that you want it to break, the hard resistance. And if that can break 24.79, it's an easy run back up to this 25.86 level, somewhere in there. Don't go hog wild in this trade, but if we could have a nice little bounce, and your pivot point area is going to be 23.48. So keep that 23.48 in mind if you're trading this stock and it doesn't break it. That's going to be your solid, that's going to be your pivot point. A pivot point, anything below a pivot point is support, and anything above the pivot point is a resistance. The pivot point is it is where it's going to tell you if it's going to break to resistance or if it's going to hold at support. If you know what a pivot point is, go ahead and Google it. And it's a major, I used to teach people what the pivot point was. And, I'm pretty good at figuring out what a pivot point is in a trade. And that's a real hard resistance. If you can break it, then we maintain it. And it can run up and try to get back up to $26 and then eventually back up to 28 if it decides to be bullish. But this is all about Bitcoin right now, and they do have cash. We have a GME right up the street, GameStop. I'm never going to the store. I'm not a gamer, but it's a coat trade right now. I wish you a lot of luck with that one. Just remember that 2080 or $20 is a major support, and it has to hold it. If it doesn't, wait for it to dip $1 or $2 and then jump in the trade and go long and run it back up to 24. Right now, we're going to look at that 23.48 or that $24 between 23.50 and 24 as a major pivot point area. Anything above it is a guessing game, and then it could get pumped by Roaring Shitty, or there's a lot of people that it's got a cult following, so you got a lot of people watching it and trading it, a lot of people stuck in it. Anything else? And let me look at a couple others here. Disney. Look at Disney. Disney broke below support last week, and we're at 80 something right now. So Disney could be a good trade here. Let's look at the weekly. We got a weekly low. Now, this is when I called it out last year, back in September of 2023. And we're going to clean this up. Now, I give Bob Iger a lot of shit because I don't really care for Disney. Once you go woke, you go broke. But it's had a good, hard enough pullback right now to where the fat cats love this trade, and they're going to start piling on this trade. So anywhere around $80, 79.21, you could call this a quad bottom. 1, 2. These are weeklies, so, it held real good. It held for 2 months down here at this 79.21 area. We had a 3-year low, an all-time low at 78.73, so we're at a good spot on this trade come Monday. You could swing this and break resistance of right around 86. And that's a head and shoulders. You've got your left shoulder, your right shoulder, your right shoulder. And this thing could come up and try to break $86 easily this coming week. I'd watch this one real close. I probably might swing this one. Although I can't stand it, it's at a good spot, real good spot, Disney is. Put Disney on top of your list. Starbucks, here's another one. Everybody likes to drink coffee. I won't pay what they're asking for it. I'd rather. I might change my coffee habits. I grind my own beans. I did it for years. I buy the best coffee money can buy, and that's Blue Mountain Jamaica coffee. So coffee's real important to me. And right now I'm drinking decaffeinated. I've kind of got a little bit older, and coffee's kind of getting to me now, and I got to get my sleep at night. I sleep better by not drinking it, so I can drink the heck out of decaffeinated all day long. And I'm drinking instant, so I've dropped my. I drank the best coffee for years, and I just don't go out and I don't buy it anymore at a convenience store or at Starbucks. But many people do, and they got too involved in politics. They got too woke, and the company got screwed up by going woke. So it had a huge sell-off. So on the 3-year time frame, I'm going to draw a trend line. We got a double bottom here, and then we've got this thing right here. So this is a weekly. And I'm going to try 2 different experiments here. First, I'm going to clean this up. People will buy this one too. This one had new management, and look what's happened. It had a good run. new CEO, and then we got into Trumpville and China. So there's a reason why this is pulled back. I think they have too many stores, personally. And we're going to take the body right here, and we're going to run it up to that body right there. And we've had higher low. So this is called an underlying support. So I'm going to put a price line right at 73.64 area. This thing dropped down to 78. So we got a little gap right there. We'll put that right there. And then we'll pull this up on the daily. You see that bottom of that candle? That's a gap. So I think this thing could, I'm going to put this one on watch next week too, because this is their little baby, and they're going to be piling on this stock for a swing to try to run it back up. They were pumping it at 110 to go higher, big time. And when a market goes into a correction, a lot of stocks will follow it. It doesn't mean it's a bad stock. It just means that everybody, don't want to get stuck in it, and they're going to sell it out and let it dip. But they're also going to pile in on this stock. So we got a double bottom come Monday at 77777777777. See if I can get it. There it is. 77777777777. If that can hold, we can run this back up $3 or $4, maybe get back up here to Friday's high for a swing trade, right around $85 long. I'd watch this one real close. Maintain 76.57. What was that lowest support? Let's go back to the weekly. Yeah, somewhere in this channel. This could dip on down and be a very strong buy here at $74 and go long all the way to 85 as a swing trade. And your resistance to break would be right here, right where we pulled back. I mean, this is a good spot where it pulled back Friday. It really was. But now that we had another correction, we could easily run back up to the top of this mountain right here. And that's going to be a major one to watch, that number right there. And that's at 81.62 all the way to $85. That's going to be your resistance channel. And this thing can run back up to the 200. Remember what I said about the 200? It's bearish. Let's take this to the daily. I like where this is right now. I really do. We could easily run back up there and hit that. And we're at $78. So that's going to be your hard resistance at 81.62 all the way back to 85. And it can run up more. This is a good one to watch to put on your long list. Anybody else have anything they want me to look at? Let's look at some of my other ones here, like AMD. Now AMD is going to have China mix in it. This is one of my favorite. Me and Vegas run this stock from $9 all the way to $30, and then I rode it all the way to about $100, and we bounced up huge on this one, 187. We went a lot higher in that trade, and it's had a huge sell-off. 3 years. It ran from 54 all the way up to almost 450% run up to 227, and it's pulled back quite a bit. So this one here looks like it's in a good spot also. It could pull back a little bit more, and let's see if we can find so I haven't looked at the price yet. We can make a double-headed snake, two-headed snake at $72. We're at 79. That next support's right here off that body of that candle, right at 81. Then we've got resistance that's way up higher. This stock's worth at least $140 easily. It's way oversold. This one has a little bit of influence of China. So I don't know, $72 would be a perfect spot to go long in this trade, AMD, if we got down to 72. And we're at 78. Let's see where we are on the 1 minute. So for Monday, we need to maintain 77.57. $77.63. If we can hold that, we can run this all the way back up and find a hard resistance right around $81. So double bottom at $77, $78, all the way back up to double top at 81, and then finish the week right around 83 off that 200 EMA. And that's going to move around on you. So you're going to find either that or SMA or EMA. And we got to break the 63 come Monday for it to become bullish. So wherever that 63 is on the 1 minute, that's going to be your pivot point area of resistance to break on AMD. Let me see if I got any more over here. Baidu, AMD. We did Meta, Apple. We ain't done Apple yet. Or did we do Apple? Yeah, we did Apple. Nvidia, AMD, Meta, Google. VIX. Well, China. Look at some China stocks. These are my 4 China stocks that I like to watch. BABA, PDD, KWeb, and JD. So let's start off with BABA. This will be recorded if you want to go back and look at it. You go into live and it'll show it on live. If you want to show off your friends, if you're new to me, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell and you can get my future videos, and I'm live every day. We have a pretty good little chat room too. It's free. So let's take this to the 3-year. Some of them say I'm the best SPX trader out there. So right now we're at 111. We got the 200 EMA right here, so that's your solid support. That one, and then the 200 SMA. Now China's China. So XPeng came out and said they're at battle with Trump on these tariffs, and that they're going to give loans to people that need it, their businesses there, at a lower interest rate to help them out if they need it. But once you take a loan out with China, you're more or less under pressure. But you know, they're smart. The Chinese are very smart people. And they got a big population. And we're going to see how much this affects each other. They've kind of gotten more independent. You know, they've moved throughout the world and started businesses up and working with other countries more than they ever have. Biden wasn't too good with China at all. And then we got Trump. They get along better, but this tariff thing has kind of got them pissed off. So China had a good run with Trump. I called out China when Trump got elected. I said China's going to run, and we had a nice little run, all-time high in 3 years. So we're back at support right now off the 200 EMA. And if we can maintain it, that 109 area, that 110, we could easily run up and have a nice little scalp trade, but I'd rather see 103 and bounce off the 200. And if that doesn't hold, we can easily drop down to under $100, around 97. So I'll be watching China. That's BABA. And then we got PDD. Now this is a good one. This one had a real nice run in 2024, especially after Trump got elected. And before that, no, it just had a good run last year. And we've pulled back to support on it too, with 93.90 being the low support. And we're right around 96. So if we can maintain 200, and that'd be a double bottom, triple bottom. And triple bottom is a bullish pattern. And that could easily come back up and try to break resistance right around 131. Or maybe even 63 at 116. It'd be a hard resistance to break. But if it broke that, I think we could take it back to the 50 SMA and then run it on up to a double, triple top up here. 1, 2, 3 off that wick. Right around 131. I like this stock. So this would be on my watch list for next week, just to see. This is one of my favorite ones. Almost like it more. I like Jack Ma with BABA. He's a rebel of China. And I also like PDD a lot. Then that other one's K-Web with the internet thingamajigger, KWEB. I've called puts out on this one here. Let's clear this up. And we're also at a solid support on it, right around $30. And this one dipped down to 29.87. So that's a pivotable area. And this can easily run up back up to 32. Real solid resistance, 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 resistance at the 200 SMA. So 32.42 has to break for it to go higher, and then it'd run up to $34. That wouldn't be that big of a deal with me. I'd probably find something else better to trade. And JD, so we got 1, 2, 3 down here on JD. Just right under $30, 28. What is it at? 35. Let's put a price line off that bottom. I'd go long if it hit 28. Probably I'd go long in that stock if it hit 28 and if it held 32.83. And we're at 35.42 right now. Let's put one more trend line in here. Right there, there's your 35 where it pulled back to right there. 35.37. Daily 1 minute, and that's right where we are, 35.37. So if that held, you'd probably take it. Yeah, see, that ain't gonna have much to play either. Probably wait and see, maybe back up to 36.76. So that really ain't much. But if the China started running, I'd be putting that on my watch list. And the banks. $175.67. These things are way overbought. This had a 180% run. So you'd probably put a Fibonacci on this trade right here. and see if it pulled back to that 68, and that's where we are right now. So that could be a solid support and a strong buy at 191 on JP Morgan. I'd be looking. And Boeing, did we do Boeing? No. Let's do Boeing. Now this is the one I really like. This is when I called it out last time. It's triple bottom down here at 120.65, and people laughed at me, and look what happened. Boom, baby. I said this stock's going to run. So if we hit that 120 again, 121, I'd go long in this trade. And if we broke resistance right around 139, I'd go long in this trade. And right now we're at 132. So this thing could be in play next week. I would really watch this real close. Boeing. Now they were pumping this stock to break 189 just a couple weeks ago. It was going to go to 220, and it didn't do that. And this is a buy-in opportunity. I think I even called this out last time when we were down here at 136, 137, and we were at 150 at the time. And they were going to call it out. And I said, no, wait until we pull back, and then we double bottomed. So this is at a very good spot. I'd be listening to the news. I bet you the pumpers on CNBC are going to be pumping this stock to the upside. I'm telling you, keep a real good eye on Boeing. Definitely a good trade right there. So, I think that's about it. I'm going to head on out of here. I hope I was to some help on trying to teach you how to chart the way I like to chart. If it learned something, hit a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And show your appreciation by when this becomes over and you get on my live and make a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of it. And share it with other people. We're going to really be in for a fun week this coming week. And I definitely keep your eyes open. I'm going to get ready to go to bed and get a good night's sleep. Maybe have a little bit of coffee and relax because I'm kind of hypered up right now. I'm feeling real good about this coming week. A lot of people are hurting right now in the country because they don't do this. They rely on their 401s and they're dependent upon that. And when they watch their portfolios go down, they get angry and ornery. And I don't see no difference in this and what I saw a lot worse from Biden in 2022 and what I saw during Obama back in 2008. The market dropped 50% from 12,000 to a little bit like 6,700. And it was a big major drop, but nobody was complaining back then. In fact, we had protesters protesting Wall Street and the fat cats. Now all the fat cats are progressive liberals, and the liberals have kind of switched their direction. They're warmongers now, and just totally different than what they were back during the Obama years. So, and I left the party. I become a conservative, more or less an independent. And I'm the same person I was back then. An independent liberal, and I'm still a liberal, but I'm not a liberal like these Nazis that we see today. And they're calling us Nazis. So that's funny. I think it's hilarious. We'll catch you all later. I hope I was some value to you this time around. Just remember, if anybody's in need, needs help, help them out. If you have a loved one that you're not getting along with, it's time to make up and kiss a little butt and do something nice for your girl tonight. Do something nice for your mother. And we'll catch you all later. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you, everybody. Alrighty. We'll see you later in that STX chat. Glad you showed up, Robert. I'm going to call it a night. I'll get me some new glasses come next Friday, and I'm really excited to get them. Right now, I'm having a hard time seeing. My eyes get tired, and I'm going to get a good night's sleep. So this will be recorded, and you can go back and watch it. Use it for references. Always, if there's a stock I'm called out tonight, and you called out and you want to go back and look at it, go back and look at it. Because it can become very helpful to you. I do it all the time. I go back to my own recordings and see what I called and see, because I have to kind of remind myself. But man, 80%, 95% of the time, I'm spot on. And we'll catch you later. And we'll see.